got a juicy hot take for you guys today. So our hot take, I have to preface it with an article. Rocco, pull up my laptop. It was in our title, okay? And we'd like you guys to participate, okay? If you're a member of the channel, as we're talking, Robin's making a good point, put Robin's face +1. If I'm making a good point, put David's face +1. If you're not a member, you can join. If you don't want to join, I don't know what to tell you.
You also put Rocco's face +1.
Oh, yeah.
I don't really know.
Yeah,
I don't really know what that
Rocco
means.
That's okay.
You're
neutral
or something.
If you want some espresso and pastries, put Rocco's face. All right. Celsius Network kicks off July by repaying $142 million to Maker DAO. Celsius Network has repaid over $142 million to Maker DAO since July 1st, rapidly lowering its Bitcoin liquidation price from above 5 figures to go under 5,000. The company paid off further debts to Aave and Compound on July 2nd, which amounted to $67 million. Robin, does Celsius paying off their debt, is that a sign that Celsians will receive their money back? I'll allow you to go first, and then I'll bring it back around. They're paying off their loans. Are they paying off their loans to set themselves up to pay their consumers back? The typical average unsecured debtor, which would be...
Let me explain something to you, man. This project is toast. Celsius is done, nail in the coffin, and unfortunately, ain't none of the retail investors getting their money back. You want to know how they're paying these debts off? These are institutional debts. So they have secured debt, and then they have unsecured debt. The retail investor is the unsecured debt. And so if you're looking at it from a liquidation aspect, if you're looking at it from a lawyer and institution side and bankruptcy glasses, you're looking at it like, okay, I need to pay off this debt, this debt, this debt, and this debt, and because I have this amount of money, okay? Because they are not 100% broke. So there is funds left in Celsius. The funds happen to be, a lot of it at least, comes from the retail investors. So they're not going to close down and then just money's going to disappear. So if you're going to basically go away, which is what they're going to do, they're going to take cash on hand and they're going to pay back some of their debts. They're going to start with these large debtors, the big ones, the ones that they have the most obligation to do so. Because if you read the fine print, you don't have any. If you read the fine print, you ain't got no rights to your money.
Zero.
Not as a retail investor. Well, let me pull up yesterday. Here, I'll even show you.
Oh yeah, we didn't show that yesterday.
Yeah, here. Take a look here. So pull up my laptop. So I gotta scroll down. This is a long term. This is from Celsius's website. And so where is it? There it is. So if you're wondering you're gonna get your money back, here's this was from yesterday. We just didn't get to it. Glad we still have it. Now, consent to Celsius. So this is your consent to Celsius. Digital assets, including ownership rights and the right without further notice to you. That's funny. Without further notice to you, to hold such digital assets in Celsius's own virtual wallet or elsewhere. So they can hold it in their own wallet or they can hold it wherever they want. And to pledge or repledge, rehypothecate, sell, lend, or otherwise transfer or use any amount of such digital assets separately or together with other property. So basically they're saying here is your digital assets without telling you what they want to do with it can go to their wallet or somewhere else, sell, lend, transfer, put it together with other people's money, with all the 10 rights of ownership and for any period of time and without retaining in Celsius's possession, so that Celsius doesn't even have to hold it. And then, like an amount of digital assets or any of the monies or assets. Okay. And to invest digital assets in Celsius, full discretion. This was long. I didn't read it word for word. Just highlighted stuff here. Now, in the event that Celsius becomes bankrupt, enters liquidation, or is otherwise unable to repay its obligations, any eligible digital assets used in the earn service or as collateral under the borrow service may not be recoverable, and you may not have any legal remedies or rights in connection with Celsius obligations to you other than rights as a creditor of Celsius under any applicable laws. But when you ask me, are people going to get their money back? Hell no.
So then why are they paying off these loans?
Like I said, because this is the consent to Celsius for digital assets. This is for their staking. Look at this. Look, earn service. Everybody, all the retail investors, that staking, that was an earn service. So you were basically taking undue risk by getting this returns. Now, what was not an earn service, which was not an uncollateral, which was anyways,
Unsecured debt.
Unsecured debt. This is unsecured debt. The real debt was them borrowing from Aave. The real debt was them borrowing from Dow.
Those are
they have
secured
money
creditors.
on hand. The money on hand is the retail investor that has no rights. So the retail investor has no rights. That's money because it just says it right
here. So are
here.
you saying they're using retail money to pay back these corporations?
Yes, that's what I've been saying. Yes. And so if you have this false sense of hope that that you see them paying off their loans is a hope that you're going to get your money back, I think it's far from that. I think it's so far from that. It's comical. And so did anybody using Celsius even know that was in there?
No. Why wouldn't they? Who the hell reads that long?
That's a long page. Have you ever read a full terms and agreement of anything, like perhaps like a credit card thing? Like, you know, when you get the credit cards, like
the only thing I have read front to back was when I signed my mortgage. That's the only thing I read. Literally, I spent a day and a half reading every single line. It was the biggest purchase of my life. So, all right, hear me out. Okay. First of all, Celsius does not give a shit about you or your money, and you can forecast that by looking at how they use your money to make themselves money, taking unnecessary risk, making dumb decisions, and not giving three shits about people like you who had money on Celsius. So, yes, they are paying their loans back. Robin is right, but I think there's a bigger thing brewing in the background. Okay. Why did I say, Robin, why did I think my theory, my conspiracy theory, my intuition, why did I say I think Gary Gensler is not going to approve an ETF? Who did I say I think they would approve an ETF to? Or that might want to launch an ETF that he's going to give the approval to? Remember the company name? Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs. Okay, pull up my laptop. Goldman Sachs is soliciting crypto funds and traditional financial institutions as part of the deal that could see it buy Celsius's crypto assets at a discount. Goldman didn't want to buy into the top of the market. This is more their style. So hear me out. Celsius is using, because if they go bankrupt, not good. Okay. Litigation, probably the government's going to look into them. But if they unlock, because what happens when you pay off these loans, you unlock your collateral, you drop the liquidation price and you unlock some collateral, okay? Coins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever the case may be. They're using retail money to unlock collateral. Eventually, they'll unlock all of it. And guess what? Goldman Sachs is going to swoop in and buy everything at a discount. They're going to buy out Celsius. Celsius will wash their hands. Retail might get some pennies back on the dollar. And guess what? Now Goldman is sitting on tens of thousands of dollars of Bitcoin. Now they go to apply for a Bitcoin spot ETF. Gary the Gun Gensler, who worked for Goldman Sachs for 16 years. He was the head of finance at Goldman Sachs. He will push that ETF through.
David, good God, bro.
Tell me it doesn't make sense.
None of it makes sense.
How does that not make sense?
None of it
How
makes
does
sense.
that not make sense?
Okay, first of all,
Okay.
Do you understand
Fact
how
by
collateral
fact.
works?
Go fact by fact.
Okay. How does collateral work? Okay, they got a loan. Okay,
Correct.
They have a loan, so they received money.
They put up
So,
Bitcoin,
do
they
you-
receive cash.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
Now, hear me out here.
Okay.
You're saying you're unlocking collateral. You don't get your collateral back.
You're
They're
unlocking,
paying.
just like, hold on, just like MicroStrategy said, if the price of Bitcoin dips below a certain amount,
Okay.
you can add more Bitcoin to it.
Do you know
Okay?
what? Okay. Listen. What they're doing, they got a loan. They say they put up 5,000 Bitcoin, okay, for their loan.
Okay.
Okay. When they're paying it down, they're just giving them more money and it shrinks the amount of collateral they have. That's it.
So what happens to that collateral? Where does it go?
It got it in the form of a loan. The loan is the
But when you
loan is
pay the
other
loan
side.
back, you get your collateral back.
They're not paying the loan back.
That's what they're doing. They literally, the article says they're paying back loans. Kicks off by repaying $142 million to Maker DAO.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
What do you mean it doesn't matter? It doesn't matter because it doesn't fit
all
your narrative.
All they're doing is clearing up their debt so that way they can have more cash on hand.
They're paying their loans back so they can get their collateral and then sell off the entire
It's
company
all-
to Goldman
it's
Sachs.
all about. Oh no, they're not selling their company. They're selling your digital assets.
They're
Goldman
sell-
Sachs.
they're
Look
gonna
at the
sell-
article. Look at the article. Goldman Sachs doesn't want Celsius. They want their assets.
Crypto assets at a
Yes,
discount.
they're gonna. Okay.
So if Celsius has
can't-
no assets, then the company will cease to
Celsius
exist.
can't sell their assets. They're closed. They're no trading. So right now, they can't go to Coinbase and be like, hey, can you buy all of these Mina tokens? Can you buy all of this Ethereum off of us? Can you buy this? No.
So Goldman Sachs is going to buy it.
Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
All they're doing is liquidating. They're just taking their tokens that they have at face value. They're selling them at a massive discount.
No, they're
for
not.
cash. That's what they're doing.
That's what Celsius is doing?
Yes.
They're
Okay, then what is Forbes doing? What is Forbes doing? Or not
For-
Forbes. I mean, I'm looking at the
article?
But what is Goldman Sachs doing?
Goldman Sachs wants to buy Celsius's assets at a steep discount.
Okay, so then what is Celsius doing? They're selling their assets at a steep discount, right?
But they're not selling them to Goldman Sachs right now.
But they will. That's the
They
whole thing.
will. That's what I'm saying.
There
They're
was-
paying their loans back. They're going to unlock the collateral they put up for those loans, and then now they have all these assets. And
all
Goldman
they're
Sachs
trying
steps
to
in
do,
and they
all they're
buy it at
trying
a
to
steep
do
discount.
is pay off their big debts. That's all they're trying to do. So that way
But
they don't
why?
go to
But why?
prison.
Okay, but
so
why?
they don't go to prison.
That's bullshit.
Because otherwise
That
it's
is
fraud.
BS.
You can't close up a business and walk away with suitcases of cash while you
It's-
owe people. You have to pay everybody back.
Why not just go bankrupt and let the courts decide who gets paid back?
What happens
That
when
would
you
be
go
easier.
bankrupt? When you go bankrupt, they liquidate everything you have at more of a steep discount. So if you're gonna go bankrupt anyways, they're gonna make you pay your debts anyways. And instead of the
Dude.
courts seizing your assets, why don't you sell them on your own terms and get as much money as you can instead of letting the courts do it? Because if the courts liquidate your assets, you're getting even more pennies on the dollar compared to what you would normally get. So why not liquidate them yourself? And if you're trying to avoid jail time and fraud and you have to pay back your debts anyways, then you know what? You're just having a flash sale. You're selling all of the assets that you have that are in unsecured debt by your retail users first, and then that's it. That's it. This is not complicated. You have example after example throughout the financial history of the world where companies mismanage funds and then they go through the process of foreclosure or liquidation or bankruptcy. It's textbook, bro. It's textbook. You have what you have on hand, you liquidate, you pay the important people off, and you screw everybody else. It's literally been done millions of times over, and this is no exception. And the fact that you sit here and say, well, Goldman said, like, it doesn't matter who it is. It's
So it's
cut
all
and dry.
coincidence.
What is coincidence? The coincidence that this has happened a million times before, that a large company with a lot of money can come in and buy somebody's assets at discount. If I have a restaurant and I go under, There's going to be a bigger restaurant. There's going to be an Olive Garden that's going to be like, oh, man, hey, man, we need new refrigerators. This one just went out of business. They don't want my company. They don't want to all of a sudden start my own burger stand that I had that closed down. They just want the equipment that's in there because it's valuable and they can get it at a discount. Goldman Sachs doesn't want Celsius. That thing is poison right now.
They want their assets.
Yeah.
And what are they going to do with their assets? They're going to file for a spot ETF.
They're going to sell their assets at a discount.
Nope.
They're going to pay back the creditors, and that's it. That's all it is.
Celsius isn't going through all this trouble to pay back loans and try to get money from here and here to try to save themselves from jail time. They're going to jail. They're going to go to jail because why did you use users' funds for this?
No, if you don't properly... Oh, no. They're not going to jail for using users' funds because in their user agreement, they explicitly said, hey, we're going to do whatever we want, and if we mess up and we lose your funds, it was in the agreement. So,
well, you know, Elizabeth Warren is going to want to hear from them.
But you know what they are?
To me, there's too many. It just makes too much sense to me.
But I don't even understand what your
Because
I don't understand what your conspiracy is even. What are you?
Okay, they have I believe that they have a mutual agreement with Goldman Sachs. Pay off these loans,
so
unlock your coins.
Celsius has
sell
an
it
agreement.
to us, and Celsius walks away.
But how does that help them? So
how does that help who out?
Okay, how does Celsius pay back all their debts? Retail included, because you can't.
They're not paying retail back. So that's out of the question.
Hold on. When you wipe your hand, what does this wipe your hands? Does that
you
mean
walk away.
Does that mean they open up for business again?
You pass that on to someone like Goldman Sachs.
Okay, let's just say your theory is 100% true. What happens when they execute? What happens to Celsius after all this happens? Are they open for business again?
No, they're done. They walk away. They're done.
Then what is the conspiracy that they're selling assets?
That Goldman Sachs is going to acquire these assets on the cheap. They might pay retail investors pennies on the dollar, and then they're going to use those assets they already have and file for a spot ETF.
Who would file for a spot ETF?
Goldman Sachs.
Why would they? Okay, that makes no sense.
Why does that not make any sense?
Why
does that not make any sense?
You don't need assets to file for an ETF.
It would be easier.
No, it wouldn't.
Then why is Grayscale in the driver's seat?
Because they physically have Bitcoin.
Then that's what Goldman Sachs would have. They would have Bitcoin. Because they would purchase the assets from
assets. They're going to buy all their assets. They have tons of Ethereum. They have tons of other tokens. They're trying to get into crypto. They're not trying to get into Bitcoin. And if Goldman Sachs, if they
we're arguing about opinion here, so time will tell. Let's move on.
No sense.
Time will tell. All right. I think outside the box. I know you have a hard time doing that, but all right, let's move on.